Well, in today's episode, what I'm going to be covering is backpack meals. And what a backpack meal is, this is the most common one. This is Mountain House. It's either freeze-dried or dehydrated meals. And what I'm going to be doing today is showing you how to make your own dehydrated meals. This fall, in September, I have a backcountry elk hunt planned. Every other year, I head out to Idaho on a archery. It's a over-the-counter or general region elk hunt, and there are just too many hunters. If you're car camping or camping out of a base camp, there's just too many hunters close to the road. So what we've started doing is hunting out of our backpacks. We'll pack in 4 to 6 miles in. We have a bivvy. We'll set up a bivvy and we'll hunt out of there for 4 or 5 days. When we're done hunting 4 or 5 days, we'll come back out to the truck. We'll resupply up, maybe shower, clean up, and then go back in for the remainder of the season. Now, what I'm going to do is show you both ways to make a dehydrated meal. There's 2 ways to make a dehydrated meal. One is you can dehydrate all the stuff separately, combine it together, put it in a Ziploc bag or a vacuum packed bag and rehydrate it when you're out on a trail. Or you can make an entire meal at once. Today I'm going to be making a chili. It's no secret recipe. I'm just going to show you tips that help that dehydration process, both dehydrating it and rehydrating it. So you're asking yourself, what do I care about a backpack meal? It goes beyond just elk hunting or hunting to backcountry. You can use it for camping, you can use it for deer camp. It's a great way anytime that you don't want to be running into town getting ice, or during the hot weather where ice is going to be melting on you. They work awesome. So what got me started on dehydrated meals and why I make my own versus the Mountain Houses is a good friend of mine who I elk hunt with was diagnosed with Meniere's disease. What it is he has to watch his sodium intake. If he takes in too much sodium, he gets vertigo real bad, starts throwing up, he loses hearing. Well, at 10,000 feet hunting in the mountains, that's the last thing you want happening to your buddy. So that rules out Mountain Houses. I can control the sodium in a dehydrated meal. I control the quality of the food that I'm putting into it, and I can also control my portions that I want. Now, dehydrating your meal is really not a whole lot different than just regular cooking your meal. You're just drying it on down. But there are certain tips that make it taste much better and cause it to rehydrate. The reason I keep showing you this is I got ground beef right here. Yes, my freezer is empty. I don't have any more venison. If you have venison, that is absolutely perfect for dehydration. You want a very, very lean meat. This is 7% fat. The highest you want on fat content is 15%. You don't want to go above that. Fat gets rancid and it spoils on you. When you're cooking your burger, you want to keep dabbing it. Once it's cooked and browned, you want to dab it with a paper towel. You want to get rid of that grease that's on there. The other secret is breadcrumbs. Dehydrated beef on the trail is often referred to as gravel because that's exactly what it's like chewing on. It does not rehydrate well. The secret is you add 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs to 1 pound of ground meat. So if you got your venison, you got 1 pound of ground meat, add 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, and I will guarantee you that you will not have gravel. It turns out it tastes just like it was fresh cooked beef or venison. The other thing is, if you're going to be using poultry, I recommend using canned chicken. Don't grill it. Definitely don't fry any of your meats. It does not rehydrate. If you grill chicken, it's not going to rehydrate. It's like chewing on jerky. And the canned chicken is much tender. That rehydrates better. You can, if you have wild turkey in your freezer from this spring, you can pressure cook that. That will work. It doesn't rehydrate quite as well, but it definitely does work. So now that I got my beef all mixed up with the breadcrumbs, it's all in there real good. Now all you gotta do is just fry it on up and brown it. About a month ago, the one piece of private land that I had permission to hunt finally sold. It was for sale for quite a few years. I just don't have the money to buy it. It's a small parcel of property, but it's been very good to me. It's a parcel I shot my buck out of last year. And so that officially means I have no private land to hunt this year. The thing is, I'm not really that disappointed. Now don't get me wrong, it's nice having that piece of property. I know how the deer use it. I can go in, hang my stands. I don't have to take my stands in and out like I do when I hunt public land. But at the same time, and I'm being honest, is I don't want to say it gets boring. but I love the scouting. I love the preparation. To me, that's half of the hunt. By going out and hunting public land, it gives me much more stand options. I find it a little more exciting. Will my success rate drop? Probably. Public land is definitely more difficult to hunting than private land. Some may disagree, but around here in Wisconsin, it gets fairly heavily pressured, but I've had good success. I've grown up hunting it my entire life, so it's nothing new to me. So this year, all the video footage you're going to see me on my hunts is going to be hunting public property. CRP land, state land, county land. Just kind of been bebopping around the state trying to find as many good stand and high quality stand options as I could for this season. So I'm actually excited. It brings a new year, new stand options. You get to see new country, new places. So excited to bring that to you guys this year and show you some of the tips and tactics that I'm doing out there. And I guess we'll see as the season progresses how good at tips and tactics they are. All right, the meat is all browned up. So I'm just going to load it up on a paper towel here now. So we got the meat all browned up. Now I'm just going to really push it down good in the paper towel and start blotting it. Kind of stir it up a little bit to get it some new pieces. If you got yourself a dehydrator, which most of us do because we all like to make our own jerky, most of us have a vacuum packer. You don't need to vacuum pack these. I do. I like them because they're a lot heavier duty for keeping them in. They keep the air out. They stay fresher longer. And then I got the Simmer Safe vacuum bags, and that's actually how I rehydrate them. I just pour the boiling water right into the vacuum bag, and I throw it in a homemade koozie using Reflectix, which is a aluminum insulating material, and I'll show you that later on in the episode here on how we do that. When I start dehydrating this, and it's actually on a dehydrator, as a couple hours go by, I'll go back over the chili with the paper towel and I'll start blotting off even more grease yet, but for the most part it's pretty good. So we're going to start cooking up the chili now. I'm using a low sodium variety, but just doesn't matter. Use whatever chili recipe you prefer, what you like. Backpack meals allow you to get away from the vehicle. You can do your truck camping, a lot of people call it, or I call it a base camp. What we do is we'll set up a base camp, and we have a freezer there that we run off a generator in case we get a bull down. We can pack them out, get them to the base camp, and then instead of running them into a meat locker, you just make sure you get a lot of air space in between the meat, fire up the generator, and start cooling the meat down immediately in the freezer. But with the backpack meals, allows us to get away from the roads. It's one of those things that go on, hey, if you're already in the backcountry, stay in the backcountry. And that's the benefit of these meals. Saves you a lot of money. You can make them how you want, flavor them how you want. Make sure you're getting the calories that you need, and good healthy calories, not just Twinkies and Ho-Hos. Leave the cooler behind so you don't have to be running into town all the time to get ice. Another great option for it. So I got everything now added into my pot, except for my vegetables. I'm going to be doing 2 peppers and an onion as soon as I get the sticker off my hand. And with dehydrating anything, whether it be your meat or your vegetables, you're going to not only want to chop it up, but dice it up really fine, much finer than what you normally would on a regular meal. If you have, let's say, a canned product, if you carry that can in, I mean, you're adding almost a half a pound, whatever canned goods are. If you dehydrate that, I mean, you're talking an ounce, just a couple ounces. So it also saves weight, saves space in your pack. And these meals, when they're all done, you'll see they're pretty small. So you can easily pack 4 or 5 days worth of food with you for your hunt. So the next thing is noodles or no noodles. That is a discussion. Depending on what part of the country you're from, some people say don't add noodles to chili, other people say they do. I'm going to straight out tell you, in the backcountry, you add noodles. No questions asked about it. Reason being is In the backcountry, you're not going Hollywood. You're not worried about your figure. It's all about calories. You want good, high quality calories. You're trying to get as much in as you can, because on a backcountry hunt, an average elk hunt, you're going to burn between 4,000 to 6,000 or more calories a day. The smaller your noodle, the better. The thinner your noodle, the better. So this here is my dehydrator. This particular brand is the Excalibur. This is a 9 tray. I do a lot of these meals for hunting. So I got a little bit bigger one. You can get the round circular one. I got a batch of chili right now on it. These are the square trays. I like the square dehydrator because it gives, to me, it seems like you have more surface area with it. But this is a 9 tray, one by Excalibur. But you set your temperature at 165 and let it go until it's dry. During the dehydration process, you're going to periodically want to keep checking on it. If you have these bigger clumps, you're going to want to make sure you break them up, and as you can hear it, it's definitely getting a lot crispier. Break up those big clumps again to make sure. And how you know it's done is when you get into like your meat and some of the beans and the chili, it's going to be rock hard or bone dry. So all I'm going to do is fill this bag up. Again, I have this already portioned out where each tray is 1 serving. So we're just going to fill this vacuum bag up with an entire serving. So I have all my chili dehydrated up in the bag. Turn my power on. And let's make us some mountain food here. There you go. You have yourself 1 meal right here. And this is actually a lot of chili. When you rehydrate it and you add your water, this bag is over half full of chili. So this is a big serving. But again, the last place I want to go hungry is out in the mountains. You can't run to a gas station and go get more food if you run out. So I always make my servings good and big. 1 down, many more to go. So that's how you make dehydrated food. Next, we're going to show you how to rehydrate and cook this food in the backcountry. Okay, so we have our backpack meal. It's all dehydrated down. This is chili. What I'm going to show you how to do is how to cook it. When you're in the backcountry, you're on a camping trip, anywhere where you don't have ice. Everything in this container right here is my cooking. This is how I'm going to cook my meals. And I'll show you this. Basically it consists of a lid or a small pot and a bigger pot. Inside of that I have a fuel canister. These are isobutane, and in the orange is my little cook stove that just kind of folds out. This is a backpack model. MSR makes called the Pocket Rocket. A lot of people know about the Jet Boils. This is another one. These are relatively cheap, quick and easy. With isobutane, these here you're going to consume a lot. The higher you are in elevation, a lot more fuel you're going to consume, so you're just going to want to keep that in mind. Ultimately, even if you have plenty of time on your hands, you could just build a fire and boil your water over a fire. It's kind of what's neat about these, is you're limited to your imagination. This is my cook pot, and that's going to sit right on top of that. So that's how I'm actually going to boil my water. To cook these, actually, I'm not cooking them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bag open, and this is my koozie. And all this is homemade. This is nothing more than it's called Reflectix. It's a reflective bubble wrap, and it's used a lot for insulating pole buildings and metal buildings. You go to a construction site, you can go to like a Home Depot or a Menards or a Fleet Farm. Does not take much, and all I do is cut 1 long strip, maybe 2.5 feet long. And I'm just going to fold it over in half, and the fold isn't going to be quite even because I want a tab, and then I'm just going to run tape down the sides of it. So let's fire up some water, and we're going to show you how to rehydrate this. For rehydrating your meals, a good starting point, it's going to be really personal preference, especially to chili. If you like it soupier, or if you want it a little bit more like a casserole or thicker, Good starting point is a 50-50 ratio, so if you have 1.5 cups of dried chili, then you're going to add 1.5 cups of water. It's a good starting point. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, it's only been a couple of minutes. Brought my water to a good boil. All you got to do is you're going to have your heat seal. Just cut right below that and open up your bag. And the reason I say cut right below that is your bag is going to be your dish. You want to try and give yourself as much bag as possible. Then what I do is take your little cook koozie, which consists of Reflectix. Just drop your dehydrated meal right down in there a little bit. Now all you got to do is just add the water. Carefully add the boiling water. See how much I got in there? Done them enough of them that I can kind of tell to the consistency I want it. It'll soak up the water, but not as much as you think. So if you think you got enough in there, you probably do. We're just going to kind of just stir it around. Now all you do is just roll up your top on your food saver bag or your freezer bag. Drop it down in your koozie. Seal it up tight, and then just prop it up. You don't want it to really tip because you still have the liquid in there. So now that it's in your koozie, I got the boiling water in there, we're just going to let it sit for about a half hour. And in about 15 minutes, I'll open it up really quick, stir it again, close it back up, and let it sit. So it's been in the koozie here for about a half hour. I stirred it up 15 minutes in. All you have to do is pull it on out, and you have yourself some good rehydrated and cooked chili. What's nice about it is you can make it to your specs, how you want to make it for sodium, flavor, whatever it be. You just stir it up a little one more time here a little bit, but you can see it just makes normal chili. Don't know how else to describe it. It's not any different than when you cooked it. You're just dehydrating it by taking moisture and water out, and then you're just rehydrating, putting the moisture and water back in. To me, it almost tastes better because I think it has a chance to kind of marry in those flavors by dehydrating it down like that. But one thing I do like about these food saver bags is that these are simmer safe, meaning they are designed that you can simmer food in them. I'm not sure I would feel necessarily comfortable doing that in a Ziploc bag, but these food saver bags work perfect for it, that you vacuum pack your meat that you normally have anyway for processing your whitetail or whatever it is. So the next time you're on a backpack hunt, whether it be for elk or out west, or if you're just doing a camping trip or anywhere that you don't have refrigeration or easy access to ice, don't be afraid to do one of these dehydrated meals or a bunch of them. The more you play with them, the more options that you find for yourself, and you realize the days of going out and buying ice every couple of days with these dehydrated meals, you don't even have to worry about ice. You have food, all you got to do is just add water.